For the benefit of those who are watching on YouTube, and please, those of you who listen to the podcast, please subscribe to my YouTube channel as well so that you can see me. I am holding up in the air an amazing Scott Stantis political cartoon appearing exclusively today in the Smerconish Daily Newsletter. It is sad, it is stunning, and it is accurate. And it's also kind of a Rorschach test, I think. I'm going to talk to TC and Dan about it on today's program. Don't miss the Scott Stantis editorial cartoon in today's newsletter. The Friday poll question at Smerconish.com. Do you agree with Peggy Noonan when she says, quote, the assassination of Charlie Kirk feels different as an event, like a hinge point, like something that is going to reverberate in new, dark ways. Essentially, things about to get worse. Thank you to my friends at Parx Casino. Fun fall vibes. So much going on at Parx Casino, my casino of choice. They've got it all right in one place. The number one casino in Pennsylvania, exit 6 off the Jersey Turnpike, or the Street Road exit off I-95 and the PA Turnpike in the Philly Burbs. Accessible, really, wherever you are in the Northeast. Action, excitement, headline entertainment, great restaurants. I'm looking forward to being back there on November 5th. Stories and Cigars with Smerconish, all sold out. Thank you for that. Maybe there'll be a third version, God willing. Watch every football game in the state-of-the-art sports book. That's a lot of fun. Sundays at noon, Mondays at 6. Enjoy $1 hot dogs, $3 Miller Lights, and $5 Peronis. Great Italian beer. Parx Casino, perfect for guys or girls night out, after work happy hour, date night, or just a meet up with friends to eat, drink, and watch the game. Check out concerts, comedy, and more at the state-of-the-art Excite Center. You'll also find a collection of award-winning restaurants inside Parx Casino, including the Liberty Bell Gastro Pub and Beer Garden. The best cover bands in the 360 Lounge every weekend, monthly country line dancing, and live comedy. What else could you want? Tickets to all events, Parx, P-A-R-X, casino.com. You got to be 21. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. I can't believe this guy is still at large as I speak, because I always have to say that because some of you will listen later. And I hope, by the way, I hope that like later today, somebody's listening, somebody's watching this podcast, and they're saying, what are you talking about, Michael? They just made the apprehension. I thought last night the press conference was called for 9:30, and then ultimately it began closer to 10. And I was watching Hannity's coverage of it, frankly, because I thought he'd have a pipeline to Kash Patel. And so when Hannity said that he wondered if maybe they had made an apprehension because they had canceled an earlier presser during the course of the day, I thought, fingers crossed, this could be the end. But it's not. And I'm stunned. The T-shirt. Like somebody knows who wears that T-shirt. But the assassin is still at large. The assassin is still at large. Yesterday, I asked whether things are going to get better. Yesterday, I asked, are things going to get better? And I've wanted us to reach a new plateau with the poll question and break 40,000 votes. And we did. And we did. To break 40,000 votes on a Saturday with the added heft of the CNN audience is nothing, but to do so on a Monday through Friday is big. And we had 43,337 votes cast. Will the senseless killing of Charlie Kirk be a turning point, deliberate word choice by me, toward lowering the temperature of our national debate? 95.06% said no. 95% said it's not going to get better. Okay. Is it going to get worse? Peggy Noonan's inspired poll question today. Do you agree with her when she writes, the assassination of Charlie Kirk feels different as an event, like a hinge point, like something that is going to reverberate in new, dark ways? 95% yesterday of more than 40,000 votes said it's not getting better. Well, is it going to get worse? Peggy name checks me in her Wall Street Journal column today. And by the way, I'm flattered. I'm honored because I have such a high regard for her. The part that applies to me is she said, "Pray now for America. We're in big trouble. We all know this. We don't even know what to do with what we know. But the assassination of Charlie Kirk feels different as an event, like a hinge point, like something that is going to reverberate in new dark ways. It isn't just another dreadful thing. It carries the ominous sense that we're at the beginning of something bad." Michael Smerconish said on CNN Thursday afternoon that normally after such an event, the temperature goes down a little, but not in this case. And he's right. There are the heartbroken and the indifferent, and they are irreconcilable. X, formerly Twitter, was from the moment of the shooting overrun with anguish and rage. It's on now. Blue Sky, where supposedly gentler folk fled, Elon Musk, was gleefully violent. Too bad. Live by the gun, die by the gun. I mean, they are the minority among us, but they're among us. So what's my answer to the question? I don't think it immediately gets better. And I pray that I'm wrong, but I suspect in the short term things might not get worse, but will be perpetuated. Will be perpetuated. I'll tell you something that's in the newsletter today. Not only that Scott Stantis cartoon that I made reference to, but a link to a Politico piece, 10 political violence experts on what comes next for America. One of them is Robert Pape, who's been a frequent guest of mine, and he'll be a guest of mine on CNN tomorrow. He's been studying political violence for 30 years. I'll tell you what stands out. I don't have to read what he wrote. I did read what he wrote. I don't have to read what he wrote, but what he wrote what he said to me that I remember is when I asked him, like, why now with the violence? He said, there are two major shifts taking place around us. One is demographic and one is income. And the confluence of those two shifts is creating a perfect storm. Somebody else quoted in the Politico piece today is Sharon Hiller, the executive director of Bridging Divides at Princeton University. She was recently my guest here on POTUS. And by the way, you can listen to the podcast that I did with Shannon Hiller, and you can listen to a podcast that I've done with Robert Pape. But Shannon Hiller is really interesting because at Princeton, do you remember this? They are tracking all acts of hostility. I think that's the way I should phrase it. Not necessarily violence could lead to violence, but hostility against elected officials at all levels. And you've heard this from me before. And today at CNN, I've done a lot of reading today, as I always do, but even more so today because I like hearing different perspectives. Stephen Collinson, writing today at CNN, talks about the ripple effect of the violence in a way that I discussed with Shannon Hiller even before the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And what I'm talking about is, and now you'll say, oh yeah, Michael, you have been on this, the school board meeting, the city council, the borough council, the township supervisors. Everybody now needs to be operating, looking over their shoulder. And you have to worry who is going to serve in this climate. And Shannon Hiller and the group that she heads at Princeton, they tabulate data of incidents of hostility all across the board. And they've seen a dramatic rise before Charlie Kirk. So I don't think it's getting better right away. It's not getting better until people start to do what we've been talking about, and that is to bridge our divides by having common experience and not to surrender the conversation to the loudest voices in the room. But we're just not going to be able to upset this algorithmically driven hate that inspires the very few who are among us. So sadly, I'm voting with Peggy Noonan today, and not just because she referenced me. And by the way, that's not what I was saying yesterday. It's not at odds with what I was saying. It's just not what I was saying yesterday. What I was saying on television yesterday is that as of the time I said it, and sadly true right now, I said, we don't know who that guy is. We don't know why he did it. All that I know for sure is that the nation is sick because we are frayed, fragmented. What did I say? Frayed, fragmented, and isolated, and lacking in common experience. So, sorry, I'm voting with Peggy today, which is a bummer. Do you agree with Peggy Noonan? The assassination of Charlie Kirk feels different as an event, like a hinge point, like something that is going to reverberate in new dark ways. Vote on the poll question at Smerconish.com. I'm looking at people who are watching me right now on YouTube. Nancy Lawrence, what caused this fragmentation? Well, Nancy, it's too much for me to explain in this setting. Watch the Mingle presentation, because I lay out all the factors among us, and they include at the top of the list, self-sorting fueled by the internet. The idea that, as Robert Putnam and Bill Bishop and others have discussed, post-Vietnam, we went our separate ways, a lot of strife in the late 60s. And when we had a coming together of the country, not necessarily unified, but more on the same page, now we had the internet. But the internet allowed us to gather in a micro sense. I mean, think about it, Nancy, and everybody else. Whatever your area of interest might be, you can find somebody who shares it. You want to crochet with someone from Ukraine? You can. You want to play video games with somebody in South Africa? Easily done. What it also allows you to do is to stay among your own, politically speaking. So that's a huge factor. Gerrymandering's a factor. Lack of campaign finance reform is a factor. Income inequality is a factor. As Robert Pape points out, demographic changes a factor. It's a witch's brew. And it comes at a time when we're isolating, drawn more by the internet to do those things we enjoy and stay away, not deliberately so, but we end up staying away from people who are dissimilar to us. And that has a political impact on the country for sure, and an impact on the violence for sure. Richard Louv was a phenomenal guest on yesterday's radio program. What did he say? You want to save democracy? Open the door. Open the front door and let your kids go out. Who else is here? The Butler assassin had very muddled ideology, as have others, says Mark. So we can't assume there's a clear motive by this killer and others. Well, Mark Wallum is absolutely correct. And Mark, do you remember that in the immediate aftermath of Butler, there was like a race to figure out, is he a registered Republican or Democrat? And then it turned out, when we got his writings, he talked about killing Biden too. I mean, it's not that they're ideological. It's that they're mentally ill. Mental illness is a big part of this. And we talk a decent game in this country about parity between physical and mental illness, but we don't live it. It is still too difficult for many people to receive the treatment that they need. You need your appendix taken out? No problem. You need to be seen for mental illness. We don't accept insurance. There are insurance deserts across this country where people who need help can't get it. Madeline, I appreciate that isolation leads to alienation and disenfranchisement of the very dynamic of our nation. Trouble sets in when we think of others as the problem. Yeah, you're right, Madeline Cassidy. You're right. I asked my CNN gang. It's funny. It's early on Friday that I'm speaking to you live, and I've already gone back and forth with my CNN team I'll go deliver this radio show now, and then I'll focus on television. It'll be a long day because I'm booked on Anderson Cooper tonight. Somebody better remind me of that. Okay. I just feel like I'm going to forget that commitment. Anyway, what I said to the CNN team was, and it's just a small group of us, I said, I want a ledger. I'll tell you this now, and you see if we do this on TV tomorrow. I want a ledger prepared. By the way, I don't even know, like, if I say ledger, if they know what I'm talking about, but I'm talking about old school. What I envision is, I'm reaching for something like a yellow legal pad. This is what I want to depict: a yellow legal pad with a line down the middle and violence from the left and violence from the right listed, so that I can visually show people that this is a two-way street. Because one of the things that has really frustrated me in the last couple of days has been the very people who create this toxic environment and have access to microphones, spinning this for their own political purposes. And the way that they're doing it is to say, well, this incident, it's all coming from this direction. It's all coming from that direction. I'm going to show on the ledger it's coming from both sides. I mean, you want to talk about the assassination attempts on President Trump and the assassination of Charlie Kirk? I do. I mean, this is serious stuff. But I also need to talk about the assassination of a state legislator in Minnesota and the guy who broke into Nancy Pelosi's house with a hammer. It cuts both ways. So let's stop this business. Oh, it's them. It's them. It's both. Show the pic of the gun in Trump's mouth. Why show that? Show that this is Uncle Sam. This is Uncle Sam. Hey, Jamal, thank you. Trump says he believes Charlie Kirk. I just looked up at television monitors because all of you are telling me this right now. Trump says he believes Charlie Kirk shooting suspect is in custody. Okay. He's on Fox News right now saying that. I think we have him. Fingers crossed. This is live. All right. I'm looking up at the monitors now, and everybody is breaking with this because that's apparently what President Trump is saying right now on Fox News. Well, that's awesome. By the way, changes nothing of what I've just had to say, other than it's good news. It's good news because we got him. Good news, hopefully. President Trump right now on Fox and Friends saying he thinks that he's in custody. Okay, well, that would be tremendous. But it changes nothing about where we are. So thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you for watching. That's exciting. And you, thank goodness I looked down at the screen because Jamal Haycock broke it to me. All right, I'm going to go get immersed in this, and I'll see you on radio soon. Like and subscribe. Set yourself up for notifications. And gang, next Wednesday night, 8 p.m., let's spend an hour together and mingle, okay? Never has the need for this been greater than it is now. See ya.